And we're live. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the first edition of the now weekly author chat. Oh, 1 second, because I forgot to turn off the sound on the actual video. So I was hearing myself while talking. So yeah, we're having this chat weekly because monthly wasn't good enough for me. And I would like to apologize in advance today because I'm feeling a bit rough due to lack of sleep. Sarah is not feeling well. Sky isn't feeling well, and she might join us later in the stream or not at all. Everyone's tired today, so if we can't speak properly, that's why.
Obviously, if we get anything wrong, it's because of that.
I feel like we should preface all our streams with that lately, because we're just, yeah. We are human, also never do what we do, because apparently it's wrong and not healthy. But listen to what we say, because we have the great ideas and great advice for people to take, but we won't take it ourselves.
We're experimenting so they don't have to.
Yeah, so today we're talking writing, obviously. We're talking about our results in 2000.
Oh my God.
I almost said 2018. So we're talking 2017 writing results, just what we've been working on, our word counts, and more importantly, lessons that we've learned throughout the year and how we plan on implementing them next year. But if we judge everything by how things have been going lately, we'll probably forget about everything we've learned and do the same mistakes again next year. Hopefully not. But I mean, if we go off track, maybe we can watch ourselves talking on this live stream and it will help us in the future. So
letters to ourselves.
Right.
It's like a weird message in a bottle sent to future us.
So in the future, will we be getting more sleep then, maybe?
Well, I mean,
I like how optimistic you are.
we'll get more cumulatively than we have so far in our lives.
There you go.
There you go, Sarah. By the way,
mean, that's got to happen. Sorry, I'm going to put my contacts in. I don't want anyone to look at me.
Yeah, okay, no problem. I was just going to ask if it's a deliberate or a technical issue that we have to deal with.
Nope, just my eyeballs.
It's all good. It's all good. We do understand. So yeah, I like how optimistic you are, Trynda. I mean, at some point we're going to die, and when we die, there's nothing but sleep. I mean,
there you go. See, that's how to be optimistic.
Weird
Start at the bottom and look up.
Weird Al's original album has a song called "I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead," and that's kind of what I've gone with.
Yeah, there you go. There's time for all of that stuff when you're dead.
Okay.
But it doesn't have to be right now.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it doesn't have to be for a very long time. I plan to stay alive until we all become cyborgs, so then I can live forever. So.
I was thinking she's talking about sleep. Oh my gosh.
No. No. I need my sleep. Not my beauty sleep, my stay alive sleep.
Cyborg. Might not if you're a cyborg, so that might be worth looking for.
That was what I was going to say. By the point where we become cyborgs, we won't need sleep anymore, and finally, I get rid of that pesky human need for sleep, which always cramps my style and messes my schedule.
Can we get rid of the mandatory eating thing? I feel like that slows me down too.
Yeah, I think that, like, okay, if you're on hospice and you're not allowed to eat, one of the things they'll give you is called pleasure feedings, which is literally like you're not well enough that the food's going to help you gain calories or get better, but it's just foods you like for the sake of your mouth likes to taste them.
Yeah,
Oh.
What is wrong with that?
that is like nirvana for me, where you don't
Right.
have to eat, but you can eat if you really like the taste of something.
Yeah, and the diet for someone who's on pleasure feedings is like ice cream and shit.
That's,
Mm.
Oh, I'm totally done. Cookie dough.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I like food.
I would.
I can't
any food
eat
you
most
like,
of
you get
what I
to eat.
like.
Yeah, any
So
food
I
you like, you get to eat because it's just for
Okay.
pleasure.
Okay, then it works. I want
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And to be a
Yeah,
cyborg.
Yeah, you
And,
never have to eat what you don't like.
because cyborgs are still like half human, right? Sort of.
Yeah.
You just get rid of all the annoying bits.
Yes, exactly.
There you go.
And
We're on to something now.
if we're far enough into nanotechnology, it's kind of impossible to die because, somebody cut your head, the nanobots will just sew it up together.
Right.
It's like a mechanical vampire thing.
Yeah.
At that point into the future, when somebody goes, "Oh, you're Romanian, so you're a vampire, right?" I can go, "Actually, yes."
I would love to read a book like that, where like the vampires are like these nanobot people. Like, oh, that'd be so cool.
I'd be down for reading that.
Yeah. Now somebody please write it, because if
Yeah, who the
I
hell's gonna write it? We got all these writers here, and everybody wants to read it.
We want you.
Don't point at me, Trynda, because I'll take it personally. And if I have to add one more writing project to my long list, which I was too afraid to put on paper, I'm going to go insane. And if I go insane, how am I going to survive until I become a cyborg? So
That's true.
Yeah. See, do you think cyborgs can like fix the insane part?
Yeah.
Or do you become an insane cyborg?
I feel like that would be a bad.
I don't think
It
there
might
is a
be
cure.
awesome.
I
It
don't
depends on the kind of insanity.
Exactly, because the natural insanity built in, in my core, I don't think being a cyborg will get rid of that, thankfully. I mean,
Probably not.
if I became a cyborg and then turned normal, that would be like too big of a price to pay. I don't want that.
Yeah,
You became a cyborg,
I would not want
Well,
that.
then we have to
accomplish some of your
define.
goals.
And then you have to define
apparently-
what is insanity. I mean, like, are we talking like full on?
I think we're largely
Hallucinations?
talking
Or are we
Alina's a million words in a year kind of insanity.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
I feel like that's insane enough.
I will tip my hat to you. Yeah. Can I go sit in that corner now, and I'll be back later. I just go crouch in a corner and pet my dog until I feel better.
Oh my god.
But because Sarah pointed out how insane my plans are, let's talk about something easier, like how our writing has gone this year. And now I want to cry again, but we won't talk about that.
You know what though? As much as like
Mhm.
I'm disappointed today with what I've done in the last couple of months, January 1st, 2017, Sarah didn't anticipate getting as much done as I did this year. So I feel like even though I'm disappointed right now in what I've done in the recent past, this year has not been bad.
Yeah.
I think I'm there with you, because on January 1st, my only purpose was to write every day, hoping to break a 6-month slump. I mean, I didn't write for 2016 at all. That was going through a lot of crazy stuff and trying to figure out what I was going to do next in my writing career. And then on January 1st, I remember I was bone tired because, we went to a New Year's party, of course. And my boyfriend was sick to begin with. And by the end of that party, he was even sicker. And I just took my laptop in bed with me because I wasn't going to sit at my desk ever that day. So I wrote, I think, 100 words that day, something like that. And I was just praying I'll write another 100 the next day. And I kept doing that for the next 4 months. And I managed to write every day and get back on track. And I really didn't imagine in early January that I'd managed to republish all my old titles and then complete all the projects I completed this year. Granted, some of them were already started and halfway through and whatever, but I don't think I could have imagined doing so well given how low I was in my writing right in the beginning of the year. So, yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I feel like just knowing that I have this group of people to be somewhat accountable to and to like also go to and be like, I'm a useless loser, and have you guys be like, nope, I've been a useless loser before. We'll turn around. There's something very comforting about that.
Yeah, true. I agree with you on that one too.
Yeah. I feel like I got so much done this year. Like, I didn't do a whole lot of writing per se, but I did a lot of work building my platform. And I feel like that's something to be proud of in itself. Like, I started doing AuthorTube this year. I started doing, like, building my Instagram and my Facebook and my Twitter and doing all that stuff. So even though it wasn't necessarily writing, which I still got tons of that done too.
Right.
It was actually, like, something I'd been putting off, and it was good to actually get it all sorted out. I did learn that I definitely take way more on than I should. And I got to learn to manage my time better. I'm trying to like get Trello going and stuff. So that's helping. It's kind of like still learning to do the time management, project management stuff. So I totally feel you, Alina.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to look elsewhere, not acknowledge that part about taking on more than I should. I've never in my life done that. Yeah, never done that. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. It's not like I take this insane projects and stick them into a very limited time frame and then expect to complete them all. No.
Well, yeah, that would just be way too crazy, right? Like,
say it softly, because maybe then we can pretend we didn't hear it.
la 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 la.
Yeah, kind of like that.
I have to agree with Sarah that I got far more done this year than I had anticipated on January 1st. Not all of it in writing, but I made videos in October, which I was not anticipating doing at all. Like, I was like, you know, someday I could make videos. I could do that, possibly.
I'm a really bad peer pressurer, though. I'm like super bad for that. I'm all like, I don't want to make videos by myself. Who's going to make videos with me?
Yeah. But here's the thing. Like, I'm not comfortable. Yes. Yes, absolutely, Trynda. I'm not always comfortable trying something that I didn't think. Like, it's one thing to, like, take a leap because you've decided to take a leap. It's something completely different to have somebody else go, you should try this. And you're going, why? Why?
Oh, yeah.
This is not something that I ever really wanted to do. And somebody says, you should make a video every day. And you're like, okay. And then you try it, and I did not make a video every day, but I made far more videos in October than I've ever made in my life. And that was an awesome learning experience. And so I've learned more. Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, I've learned more this year than I did. Just last night's conversation on the stream alone, that that was like learning for the year. I feel successful now. Okay, not really, but I mean, you know,
there's definitely like you feel like you have more knowledge with which you can use to like make plans, and so you feel more equipped to make the plans even.
Yes. I'm glad you have the words.
That's my brain doesn't work most of the time, but right now it seems to be functioning a little bit.
I mean, between all of us, I think we can make a sentence.
Right?
If we try really hard, we can come up with a sentence.
Yeah.
That's somewhat coherent.
Yeah, how many writers does it take to make a coherent sentence?
All of them.
Is that a measurable value? I don't know if
don't.
that's something you could even like quantify.
I think it's about 5 based on my current knowledge.
I think if you want consistent results where they always end up making a coherent sentence, you need more than 5. Because we fail sometimes, so...
It's better with a keyboard, though.
Words are hard, guys.
Yep.
They are better at words than my mouth is.
Words are hard, says the writer. That will be the quote of the year.
But isn't it that someone said something along the lines of writers are people to whom writing words are almost impossible?
Yeah.
I don't know who said that, but that's fantastic.
Yep, also rings true. That's just spot on, Misha. Like you nailed it in the head.
Yep. That's awesome. I love that quote so much. It's so true.
It's Thomas Mann.
Just
because I don't want us to not. Yeah, I just don't want us to not quote something right and then later have somebody lose their shit over it.
Yes.
It's a writer. A writer is someone for whom writing is more difficult than it is for other people.
Yeah.
There you go.
Fantastic.
But if you think about it, if you talk to someone and they ask what you do, and you say you're a writer, and then they ask what do you write, and you say fiction, I write stories like novels and stuff. They go, oh, that's so cool. I always wanted to write a novel, and it would be fun, but I just don't have the time. Like the time. The time issue is the only problem. That's the only issue you can have writing. Like nothing makes it more difficult than the lack of time.
That's easy.
I got an idea. I just haven't bothered to write it down.
Yeah,
but those are the people. It's just you have to like just bother with it. Like that's how it works.
Yeah.
Your brain baby will just pop out and be a full-fledged person, you know.
Now I'm
my personal favorite is when I'm complaining about how difficult I'm finding writing something, and then the person I'm talking to goes, "How hard could it be?"
Oh my goodness! Is that where you want to stab them with a spoon?
Yes.
I mean. It's that is why writers find so many interesting ways of killing characters.
Yes,
I agree.
It's statements like that that turn us into little sadists in our corner of the house typing furiously. Oh, he got hit by a toothpick that went through his eye and pierced his brain and
it all came from that conversation in the coffee house. Somebody came up and said, I don't understand why it's so difficult. And all you had at hand was a toothpick, and you were, that's how you get your inspiration.
Yeah.
I'll bet I could stab you in the eye with this toothpick.
I will tell you, sometimes when I get real stuck on a story, I will just take my 15 years working in psych and just like write a psychiatric client of mine who I especially like into the story. Just even if they walk through a place, I'm like, well, there goes the guy who only wears cut off satin pants and has a short tank top and thinks that his father is Mickey Mouse. Like he's gonna come in and know what else to do right now.
Yep.
I kind of like that.
It was a fun time too, other than the whole like job part of it. Jobs are great until they make you do like the part they're paying you for.
Right.
Yeah. Totally agree with that. I mean, I don't understand why people expect me to write like it's my job or something.
The whole job aspect takes all the fun out of it.
You know what though is that my boss tells me occasionally that she hired me partly because I was a writer, and so she can tell me like, I need you to write a settlement letter to this attorney with this information for this client, and then send it to that client and have them double check it. And she doesn't have to double check my work because her last assistant wasn't very good at writing, so she had to sit next to her and dictate.
Oh.
So to her, the fact that she can just tell me to write a letter is magical. And she's like, I tell other attorneys that they should hire writers.
So,
Yeah.
so it's pretty much
say,
like you're a unicorn, a magical unicorn. Awesome.
I had other attorneys come into the office and be like, are you full-time? And she's like, leave my assistant alone.
Getting poached while you're at work.
Like, you can't have her, leave her alone.
She's gonna get a stamp and put it on your forehead that says property of Allie. Do not touch property of Allie.
My boss and I, it's just her and I in the office, and then my husband does some like what we'd call it 1099 work, like he works freelance for us, scanning our files and stuff. So it's just the two of us really. And she's 3 months younger than me. So like our life experiences are all the same. We're both really type A. Like we get along really well. So she gets really upset when somebody says something about, well, maybe your assistant has some extra time. And she's like, she doesn't.
Stop asking.
Go away.
I will say my last job.
That's the thing
my last job.
This button working.
Are you okay, Sarah?
My headphones have this thing on them that's supposed to be a bass booster.
Okay.
But really all it does is make them sound like headphones should sound.
Okay.
So I have to put a binder clip on it to hold the button down. And it just went flying across the room. So I apologize.
All good.
Minor technical.
That's what happens when you only buy $5 headphones.
Yes.
No, that was the much needed action scene of this chat.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, because if somebody in this group was going to do an action scene, it would be me.
That's only because I don't give Ares his own computer, because then people but because he doesn't have his own computer, he's back there sleeping. I don't know if you can see him in the back of the room.
He's so cute.
Yeah. Oh, he's so cute. He looks so tired.
I bet he's thinking about a story he's got to write.
Yeah, about
catching cats.
Yeah, about chasing cats all day.
In this story, he catches them.
True. He's caught them before. I think the story is more like how I caught them.
He knows we're talking about him.
That didn't end up scratching the hell out of my snout. That would be a great story.
He's dreaming about a dog park where none of the food on the ground is rotten and it's all like.
Oh God, yes. Oh my God, those remind me. I'm still in pain. I'm still in pain over the fact that I decided to no longer go to this stupid park. I'm not happy about it. I mean, I'm happy for myself because I don't have to argue with those people every freaking morning, and that my dog
problem, but
yeah, and that my dog won't get sick anymore. But on the other hand, I'm out of a perfectly accessible park.
Didn't you say it's like way further to the next one?
Yeah, like this one is 5 minutes away if I'm dragging my feet. The other one is 15 to 20 minutes if I walk at a brisk pace. So I could drive there, let's say, but that defeats the purpose of getting some.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be one thing if it'd be one thing if like you could get there and he'd still get enough running and stuff. But if you're driving there, it's probably bad enough out that you don't want to hang out there a ton.
Yeah, and the thing is, when the snowfall starts, my car doesn't move. I mean, I don't drive in the snow with this small car I have. Oh, I think I have guests. I think my neighbor came over to talk to my mom because, yeah. That's how he reacts. I mean, if someone comes by, he has to be there to play with them. If they come,
what if they came to pet him?
Yeah, I mean,
that's probably the whole reason.
Everybody who comes to a house, yeah, I was gonna say that's why they're there.
My neighbor usually brings him apples.
So extra cherished neighbor.
And she cuts them for him, so it's even easier to eat them because
he is spoiled rotten by that neighbor.
Yes. Yes. And I remember the first time we went to her place, he was about 6 months old, and there was this loaf of bread on her table, and he just jumped and grabbed that, and I tried to grab it back, and I was just pulling it out of his mouth. And she was just let him eat it. And then we watched, like in horror, how this puppy, because he was like 6 months old, he wasn't this big, chopped down an entire loaf of bread in 30 seconds max.
I just love that he's just chilling back there, like, what, I didn't do nothing.
Yeah, no. Right now he's just waiting for someone to open the door for him so he can go play with whoever came by. And that's not happening. So that's why he occasionally looks at me like he's begging for attention because, yeah.
Like, Mom, there's people out there to play with. Mom.
Yep. That's my dog.
I will be grateful that my cat does not do that. She is not interested in other people. She's okay watching them, like lurking in the window and watching them walk past, but she's not really interested in them coming over.
Travis has to wake up. Sorry.
It's no problem. Kind of strange.
Actually, I think that's the turn your sail off alarm, actually.
Maybe he's like doing Alina's thing where he's sleeping with his eyes open. You don't know.
I'm pretty sure he knows that because we had whole conversations he doesn't remember.
Hey, don't judge him for that. You and I have had conversations I don't remember.
Yeah, but Travis is a lot less likely to have accidentally upset his short-term memory.
That's true.
Than I are, so. Travis does not.
My rule of thumb is I have. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say Travis does not imbibe any sort of substances.
Mind-altering substance?
No, that's not his gig. His mind is altered already.
Yeah, I think mine too from birth.
Right?
I think aren't the best of us? I don't have words.
Things just keep getting better around here.
It's contagious. It's contagious. It from me. Good job with all authors. Like, good job with writers and stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, we use all of the word computing power to put them on the page, okay?
Right?
Yep.
What do you want?
I will take that excuse and use it in the future.
I will say that remembering conversations before we left, before she left, my sister and I were talking about a conversation we apparently had earlier in the week about cheese.
I like how you say apparently.
Like we talked about. I was sick this week, so my ability to recall is even worse than it normally is. But she's like, we talked about this. And I'm like, I'm sure we did, but I don't remember, so we're going to have the conversation again.
Take two.
Yeah.
I'll tell Travis like what he responded to me, and he'll be like, "Well, that's right."
Why are we having this conversation again if you already know what I'm gonna say?
Like I'll be like, "Well, you said that you had this going on at that time," and he's like, "Yeah," but I don't remember having that conversation. And I'm like, "Well, I didn't make it up. Like I got information from you. It happened."
Just because you don't remember parting with the information does not mean it didn't happen.
And I'm sure we have conversations that I don't remember, but half of the time either they don't matter that much, or like he can't understand why I don't remember. He has like 13 new friends every month who like have come in and like bought stuff off of him or have decided they want to hire him to do something or whatever, and he'll be like, "I'm doing that for Matt." I'm like, "Who the hell's Matt?" And he's like, "I told you about Matt a week ago." And I'm like, "I know 40 people named Matt. Which one are you talking about?" "Why don't you remember this?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm stupid."
Well, my mom has certain friends of mine that I've been talking about since high school. And whenever I say a name of such a friend, she goes like, "Who's that?" Well, let me tell you again. And she goes like, "It's not my fault. I only store information that interests me." And then I'm like, "If it doesn't matter, what the hell are you asking?" And she goes like, making conversation. Actually, she does, but the truth is, like, I have a lot of friends, and sometimes it's confusing because I say, "Oh, I'm going to do this with Alina," and my mom goes, "Which Alina?" And then I have to go, "Oh, the one in Bucharest, or the one in Ploiești, or, you know, remember my friend Alina from high school?" I'm sorry, it was a popular name, and yeah.
Yeah, I have that problem with Sarah's. Because the year I was born, Sarah was, I believe, the most popular girl name.
Wow.
So at one point, I had 4 Sarahs in one class. Like, so we all had like nicknames, or we would go by our middle names, or we'd go by whatever, or I was Sarah S. all through high school. But yeah, it was just like it was ridiculous. And then, you know, the teacher would call on Sarah, and whoever knew the answer could answer. So that worked out pretty well.
That definitely makes it easier.
Yeah, I'm like, she must be talking to you because I don't know what the hell she's talking about. I don't do physics.
Yeah, I never had that luxury.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
actually, I did but my desk mate was the other Alina, and because we were like pretty upfront, we could figure out from who the teacher was staring at, who it was. Yeah. And there was a difference of where they looked because I was here and the other Alina was here.
Yeah, I did have that because I'm so damn tall that like I was almost always the tallest Sarah.
I mean, in secondary school, so 5th grade to 8th grade, I was the shortest in the class. And then in 8th grade or 7th grade, I don't know, at the end of the 7th grade, so a year and some before we went to high school, a guy came in our class, and his name was Eddie. And when I saw him, I ran to him and I hugged him because finally there was someone shorter than me. I've never been so happy. Poor boy. I think he thought I was mean, but I was just so relieved.
My middle sister has that problem. So Cassie is like 5'6", and I'm 5'5"-ish. Our middle sister is 4'11".
Oh, nice.
So she is tiny. Like, she got married a year and a half ago, and all the pictures, like, everybody has to be like, everybody had to like squat in order so that her head was not in line with our boobs when we're taking the pictures.
Okay.
In some of the pictures, we took them in like this alleyway, and there was this giant hole in the concrete. And there are several pictures where everybody looks the same because Cherry is standing outside of the hole and everybody else is standing in the hole. It was like a 6-inch hole, and now suddenly Cherry's the same size as everybody else.
Your family all looks enough alike that Cherry is like the pop doll version of your family. Like your family is all there, and then she's the tiny, and she's like a tiny bobble-headed version of the rest of your family.
She is. That's very true. That's an excellent explanation.
Oh my God.
She's also the loudest.
Oh, nice.
And she, how do I explain this? So she was told at work one day that her laugh was not work appropriate. She doesn't laugh like
She cackles.
She laughs like she laughs like a 6 foot, 300-pound lumberjack. Like, it's huge, and you can hear it. So I enjoy going to movies with her funny movies, because she has no shame about her laugh. And she will laugh louder than the next 20 people in the theater. We went to see Kung Fu Panda, and it's a kid's movie, but it's funny. So we're sitting, and she's sitting between Cassie and I. And she's laughing, and we're laughing at her because she's having such a good time. She's laughing. Some like 12-year-old, right? Some 12-year-old kid like next to me keeps leaning over and going, shh. And we're like, it is a funny movie. If you don't want other people to laugh, go watch it at home.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But like, this girl, she was not impressed with my sister's laugh. But totally worth it to see her watch a movie. Like, she full on enjoys whatever she's doing. Like, she doesn't do anything half-assed. So
I went to
she's
a
tiny,
movie
but
with
she
my friend
packs a
Jason,
punch.
and the people in front of us were a little noisy, and he went and had them removed. He sure did. We were trying to see Kill Bill, and it got to the animated part, and they were like, "What the fuck is this?" And Jason was like, "I'm done." And he disappeared for about 30 seconds, and in comes the mall or the theater people, and they like remove these two ladies who were sitting in front of us who were being disruptive. And Jason's like, "They're gonna be waiting outside to kill me, aren't they?" I'm like, "They might be."
Sounds fantastic. No, the thing is, like, I'm 5 feet tall. Like, that's it. Nothing more.
I'm literally a foot taller than you.
Yep. I tried my best. So I used to just hold on to stuff and dangle for hours because I thought that would make me taller. And then I tried playing basketball, and I was super sporty all my life. Nothing helped. Like, no.
I'm not coordinated enough to like hold a pen in one hand and my mouse in the other hand. And because I'm 6 foot tall, everybody would be like, "You should play basketball." And I'm like,
no.
"Yeah, sure." So I played basketball for years. And then everybody would be like, "You're really shitty at this." And I'm like, "I'm the most uncoordinated person ever. And you just told me to play basketball. What do you want me to do?"
Yeah, so.
And then I played volleyball in gym class one time, and I jumped to hit the ball, and because I was taller than everybody, so nobody else was going to hit the damn thing. And at some point there, I blacked out, and the nurse showed up because I had apparently torn the ligament in my knee. And then they're all like, right, and everybody's like, "So are you going to be playing again?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, never." That's like, no.
No, the thing is, like,
I can wreck myself at 17. I don't think I probably am made for sports.
Yep. I'd say no. And the thing is, like, in the movies, at some point in my life, we had one cinema in the entire city, and it was just one theater, like you had one screen and that's it. You had to choose between one movie and that's it.
Yeah.
And that one movie would run for the entire week. So we'd go and you don't get seats. You didn't used to get seats. Now you have a seat aside in the malls.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
and so
I like to just say something like this, so nobody could see me because it was like a doll. And I remember we were watching the first Jurassic Park, and at some point there's a jump scare. And I was so relaxed in my chair that I got so scared I jumped up and then fell back into my chair. But because I was so ashamed, I tried to make myself as small as I can, and my friends couldn't see me, so they were looking for me under my feet. Because they were all convinced I'd fallen and they couldn't see me anymore. They were like, "No, you idiots, I'm here. Just stop making a fuss and drawing attention to me." So, yeah, that was fantastic.
You don't do scary at all, do you?
Nope.
Yeah,
I try really hard because some of the movies are interesting. For example, I wanted to see The Ring because there's a whole bit about investigative journalism included in that movie, and I wanted to see it, but it's physically hard for me to see scary stuff. I try though, rarely. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I'm all about horror movies. I have a stuffed Leatherface on my desk. I love horror movies.
I like old horror movies more than I like new ones.
I don't like new Hollywood ones. I do like a lot of the newer indie ones because they still give a crap about giving you a plot.
More accurate.
Yeah, so like I really like Adam Green, and I really like I like Travis's stuff, but I don't know that counts because I'm kind of required to.
I think that
and he hasn't done a lot of horror recently. So.
It counts, man. It counts. Like I don't care. It counts.
It counts. I don't think you're obligated to enjoy what your
no,
significant
and
other produces.
He's actually made one movie that I just like straight up won't watch because I didn't like the script.
Yeah. That's
it's
fine.
not something I can relate to. I don't feel comfortable with it, so I just don't like it. And like he knows that. It's not like whatever. I'm sure if I wrote a story about like someone murdering their husband, he probably wouldn't be terribly thrilled. He'd probably be like, this is a little uncomfortable, actually.
See, but you're honest though. That's the part that counts, I think.
Yeah, probably. We might be too honest around here. We might have a problem.
It's all good. So let's pretend we're talking about writing.
Yeah, we just kind of got off on a weird whole tangent there.
Like I'm just looking at the time and I'm like, oh, we've been at it for an hour and we covered nothing of what we intended to cover.
I'm kind of talking about writing.
Okay, we covered like one thing.
Yeah, which is basically we can't words and writing is hard. And I have weird insects flying around and I don't get it because it's, oh, wait. It was super cold for a while and then it was a bit warmer for 2 days. So all the insects came back to life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they're super tiny. They're super tiny, so I can't tell Ares to deal with it. So
right.
Because if it's bigger flies and stuff like that, I call the dog because.
Right, still just scoop that out of the air and swallow it.
Yeah, most times it just means he demolishes everything in his path, but
that's got to be amusing at least.
Oh yeah,
totally worth it.
Totally. Also, if anybody noticed, I was supposed to clean today and have the room decorated. Do you see any of that done? No?
Well, what did you do so far today, though?
So I woke up at about 8:30. Then I spent an hour and a half drinking coffee and journaling.
That sounds right.
I did that. Then I took the dog outside for a short walk because I didn't have the energy for a longer walk, obviously. And then what the hell did I do? Oh, I watched YouTube videos, and then I planned my next week with what I'm supposed to do. I created a little schedule. I can show you, look. Let me just find it first.
Sorry,
nope.
I had to break up a cat fight.
It's okay. So it looks like this. This is the daily schedule, and then I did it like this per week. See?
Oh.
Mm. And it's and at the end I just set out the projects I'm working on, and I can't show you for the life of me. Oh, there it is. See? So that's everything that I did today. Other than that, it was just watching Supernatural and some anime and nothing, because I slept for barely 4 hours. So
right.
Plus, I had to be ready for this stream that I didn't put makeup on. I didn't prepare for, and I created it like 10 minutes before we started because I forgot to do that.
I kind of did that last night too.
And I obsessively refreshed my KDP reports page. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, I have to decide if I want to separate myself from Travis and try to do Amazon, but that sounds awful.
It's not. It's easy. It's fairly easy to do everything on Amazon, especially now because you can do paperbacks through Amazon. You don't go wide with them, but you get royalties immediately. So it just counts as everything. If you made 30 cents, they will pay you those 30 cents. You don't have to get to the $100 limit that CreateSpace has. And right now they have author copies, finally. So you can order books that you can then sign and sell to your customers.
Yeah, see, and I can do all that through Drive-Thru Fiction, where I do my books. The big difference is, though, that because I publish under Travis, he has an exclusivity deal with Drive-Thru, who does his gaming books. So it's Drive-Thru RPG is where he does his stuff, and Drive-Thru Fiction is like their sister company. But that means I get paid more per copy.
Yeah,
so
but
there's where I run into the wall, is that because I write so slow, I'm never going to be making every 30-day publishing money. Like, that's never going to be my thing.
Yeah, but
because my rate is so much higher, it's hard for me to make that decision because there's enough.
you have to think of volume a bit, because I don't think there will ever be as many people there as there are on Kindle, on Amazon to buy books. I mean,
yeah,
Barnes & Noble doesn't compete with them for ebooks.
Yeah, but the issue there is that the competition there is, I don't want to make myself sound like a total asshole, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's more professional. And so, like, I feel like I stand out more at Drive-Thru.
Possible.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it. But, honestly, what I'd recommend is that you try Amazon with one book and keep one or however many on Drive-Thru Fiction, and then just compare.
Yeah.
Because
I've had people ask me about putting my stuff on Amazon, but right now I don't have the exclusivity deal. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think you get like 75% royalty if you price it anywhere higher than $2.99.
Yeah, it's like 10% higher what I get at Drive-Thru than what their standard is.
Okay, so it's kind of like what you'd get through Smashwords, only that Smashwords doesn't have an exclusivity deal, because I think Smashwords has something like 80 or 85% for.
I've literally never even gone to the Smashwords website, so I don't know.
Oh, it's just the worst. I can't stand their website.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'd rather do draft to digital any day of the week.
Yeah, but draft to digital takes more of your royalties.
A bit more, yeah, but I've had so many technical issues with Smashwords. I'm willing to do a little bit more to not have people dealing with technical issues on Smashwords end.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's my biggest issue with Smashwords is they screw up my metadata and they screw up everything all the time. So I'm just like, I'd rather not.
I think
the other thing I get with
drive-through.
The other thing I get with drive-through is that Travis has 15 years of publishing history there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I send emails through his server, it goes to like way more people than I would ever access myself. So I'm also kind of like chipping into his sales. Like I get to use his sales to my advantage. So I am kind of getting away with more than just the extra pay.
Yeah.
I get his email list. So that's why I haven't done it.
Like I'm pretty much the kind of person that would try all avenues. I started wide, then switched to KDP select, then went wide again, then moved to KDP, and now I'm happy because I kind of found my groove. But I'm all for experimenting and finding what works for you. I know that for the other pen names I'm thinking of writing under next year, I will first try going wide with those and see how that goes. And if there's not enough income from all the other marketplaces, I'll just go back to KDP. I'm fine with that.
So I have a question about that.
Yeah, go.
What are you doing differently that you need different names? Like what are you doing under those names?
Okay, so I want to keep everything that has a strong romance plot under my name.
Okay.
Even if it's not romance, if
just
the romantic plot is, if the books are more romantic, I'd rather keep them under my current pen name. I want to get one pen name for mystery, sci-fi, and paranormal that's adult and not romantic in nature. Like for the serial killer mystery I want to write and other mysteries I'm interested in. And the third one would be for YA.
Okay.
Because I don't want, it's stuff that you don't want mixed together.
Didn't know what you were doing under those different names.
Yeah. I have this idea for a YA book. I have a title for it, which is unusual for me because I usually struggle for years to get a title, which sucks. But
titles are hard for me too.
Yeah, this is called Gifts from the Greeks. And it kind of ties into that whole Roman saying about not trusting the Greeks even when they bring you gifts, because we all know about the Trojan horse. And it's a sort of a paranormal superhero thing, but kind of on the evil side. I have some ideas for it, and that wouldn't work under my, I mean, I don't mind writing everything under my own name. I don't have a problem with people knowing all those pen names are mine. But from a marketing standpoint, it's easier because you wouldn't want a YA reader going straight for my gay romance, which is pretty, I mean,
that might
polarizing.
That might be a problem. Or if people come through a very gritty serial killer mystery, I don't think they would want to read my Christmas novella, which is kind of on the sweet side.
Yeah, and you probably don't want somebody's 15-year-old child who they're fine with them reading your young adult stuff to then stumble onto your gay romance and then have their parents decide that you're not an appropriate person for them to read, period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could, I mean, because of people's opinions of the gay romance specifically, I think you would have some people who would get pretty feisty about that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't think I will ever write a story where everybody's straight.
Right.
This is not life. But there's a difference between writing something that's appropriate for young adult and something that's appropriate for adults.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't market the series I write. I mean, Lover's Journey is basically a coming-of-age story for both books in that series. And it starts when the characters are super young. I mean, for the first book, the main character is like 11, and for the second book, the main character is 13. But this goes through their entire new adult and adult life, so it's not a YA read. And
it's kind of like you're aging up with them, kind of like a Harry Potter or something like that. Like you're following along as they age.
Yeah, only faster. And through all of that, you see their struggle dealing with being gay in a country where being gay is not the easiest thing in the world. And dealing with relationships that aren't going as smoothly as they should. And I don't think they're inappropriate for a young adult. But I would see why parents wouldn't want to read about young adults having sex.
Right.
I get that. Because one of the characters is 16 when he's having sex.
Right, right.
So,
and while most reasonable people understand that 16-year-olds are interested in sex and may become sexually active, it's very uncomfortable for people who are parents sometimes.
Yes, it is. I mean, I remember having this conversation with my parents, and they asked about things at some point. My father had one thing, like I could smoke if I wanted to. I could have sex if it was responsible, but I could never do drugs. It was to the point where if he said if I ever do drugs, he will never talk to me in my entire life, because that's just how he saw it. But my reaction to that was like, oh, you're worried about sex? Don't be. Yeah. Until I turn 18, you're safe. The moment I turn 18, I won't guarantee anything anymore for you. But until I turn 18, you're safe. And the reason for that wasn't because, oh my God, I had to be an adult. No, I just wasn't ready before that. I was a freaking tomboy that had completely different interests, not exactly romance. So I didn't care about that. I mean, I had my crushes, but nah. I was fine from afar. If someone would have approached me, I would have probably run screaming or something like that. Because I was just, no.
I actually, when I was like 11 years old, I answered the door to some Jehovah's Witnesses while I was reading Stephen King's It. Well, I'm like holding it in my hand, like I got off the couch while I was reading and brought it to the door to answer the door because somebody's at the door, and they literally just stood there pointing at the book going, your parents are letting you do that? And I'm like, my parents don't care what I read. Like, what? Why are your parents letting you read that? And I'm like, I don't know, why do you care? Like,
who are you people?
Right, you just show up at my house and tell me what I should read? Are you serious?
Oh God. No, that's, yeah. I mean, no offense. I've read children's stories that are way more traumatic than it, I think. So I just don't get it. I do believe that maybe sometimes people shouldn't let their children read stuff just because it says fairy tales on them. Sometimes those end up traumatizing you. But other than that, I don't know. So.
Well, and I feel like people don't take into account who their children are sometimes. And they're, because two 13-year-olds next to each other might not be able to handle the same thing.
Oh, true.
Like, yeah. But a lot of times people are like, well, I didn't let my other 13-year-olds do this. Well, but your other 13-year-olds were different people.
It's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and at that, particularly at that age, when in adolescence, there's such a wide gap between like 11 and 16.
Yeah.
That you can, there are kids who mature so fast and have such a grasp on reality and are frankly well adjusted that they can handle stuff that other kids like they can't. Yeah, and that's just, and I think sometimes, I also think that sometimes, and I've experienced this with her roommate's kids. So her kids are 2 years apart, but they are the same size physically. And sometimes it's hard to remember that the 7-year-old is still only 7.
Yeah.
And so I think it can work both ways, that I want to think of the 9-year-old as a little cute 2-year-old who would come down to my apartment and like run around and be adorable and blow kisses at the cat. And he's not. He's 9, and he's frankly kind of an asshole right now. I mean, I still love him. Don't get me wrong. I still love him dearly. But sometimes he's 9. Whereas the 7-year-old, sometimes I forget that she's only 7 because she's the same size as the 9-year-old. He's a little bit short and she's a little big. And
sometimes I think children exist partly to teach us how to love someone and hate them at the same time.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
There's this weird feeling where you're like, I would step in front of a bullet for you, but I also might help that person kill you afterward.
Yes.
But only with their bare hands, because they don't get to shoot you.
Right. It's one of those, if anybody gets to kill you, it's going to be me because I love you.
Right, yeah.
And I understand why you have to die. They just find you annoying.
Right, they just want to do it out of spite. I want to do it for real reasons.
Clearly, we're all wonderful parents to be.
Right.
Or current parents.
In my defense, I didn't plan on any of this.
That is true.
Travis did it all before I showed up.
Oh, God. Yeah. Never mind that. Just to add to that brilliant conversation, I think dogs serve the exact same purpose. Like teaching you can love a being with all your heart and then want to strangle them or throw them out the window.
Yeah, and my cats are the same way. I don't know if you guys noticed last night I was telling Mr. Crowley to shut up because he's just sitting by the door crying, and I'm like, what? What? And he doesn't go outside. So what are you doing? Like, but he's like, I'm just gonna meow really loud at the door while you're streaming. I'm like, this sounds great, butthead.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
Right? I can't figure out how to sparkle. Once I get that down, I'll let you know.
I can send you a glitter bomb if you want.
That's what I was thinking. Glitter bomb, and it's totally Twilight.
I read that the glitter was ruining the environment now, though, so maybe we don't want to do that. Apparently, glitter is now the new problem after they got rid of those beads and facial cleaners. Now they want to get rid of glitter, which, I mean, I'm pretty okay with. Cause
could you make, like, biodegradable, like, bamboo?
They make glitter? Edible glitter, so there has to be something usable. If it's edible, it can't decompose.
It's not. There is no such thing as edible glitter. It's food safe, whatever. Food contact safe. So
it just goes
it's okay for decorating cakes and stuff like that. But if you try to eat it, you're still eating plastic, which your body might have issues digesting. So and if you're wondering why I know that, it's because Simply Logical had a video about the diamond cappuccino, which has holographic glitter in it. It's a cappuccino with holographic glitter. And it's made somewhere in India. And the people there were saying that, oh, no, it's made of sugar and food coloring. And no, it's not.
That's interesting, because I have a friend who makes cakes who uses glitter almost exclusively. And she constantly is talking about how it's edible.
Not exactly.
I'm sure there's probably some brands that are.
Nope. Does it make your poop glittery?
Obviously, because pretty much it goes out of your body as
right.
it
Like
enters.
if you're not digesting it, then it would make your poop glittery, which I know that that's not an appropriate thing to talk about usually, but I feel like if we're going to talk about eating glitter, I feel like we have to go there.
I mean, like,
Yeah, I agree. I think that has to be part of the conversation.
We're so off the rails from the initial conversation that glitter poop is the one thing that was missing. Like, it's no problem.
You know what? There might be someone watching this stream right now who needed to know if you poop glitter after you eat glitter, and this might save their story.
You know, I think we should make a thumbnail with a holographic glitter poop, and maybe then I get Simply Illogical to pimp my channel.
Right?
And I'm fine with that because I love her videos. So
Yeah.
yeah. And I think like really, if Simply Illogical, which is a nails and stuff channel, can make so many videos that have nothing to do with nails, and then people go back and watch them all the time because they're so damn funny, I think we are fine doing author chats where we talk about nothing that has to do with writing and being an author. It's fine.
And instead talk about glitter poop. Yep.
That's perfect. Glitter poop is perfect.
I will say on terms of glitter, I'm for banning it. It's what do they say? It's the herpes of craft products.
Yeah.
It never goes away.
No, ever.
Yeah.
It never goes away. Like they banned it at our church. You're not allowed to use glitter at our church in like for weddings or anything anymore. Because somebody used it like it's got to be close to 10 years ago, and there is still glitter in the carpet.
Oh my God.
And the carpet gets vacuumed once a week. So for like 7-8 years, this carpet has been, and it's been cleaned. Like the carpet's been cleaned, like washed, and there is still glitter in the carpet. It never goes away. It is there forever.
And they say diamonds are forever. That's a lie. Glitter is forever.
No, that's a lie. Glitter is forever. And because it's made of plastic, it never biodegrades.
That's what I mean. We gotta get some bamboo glitter going on.
Apparently, edible glitter is not edible glitter at all. It's considered unsafe in the UK. It's not.
It's considered what?
Yeah, it's not considered a safe product to eat in the UK. Like the UK version of the FDA does not allow for it.
Yes, and in the States is considered food contact safe, which means you can have it around food, but maybe don't eat it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's good for decorating cakes and stuff, but maybe don't eat that part.
I mean, usually they put it on fondant, and that's disgusting, so I don't worry too much about it because I'm not going to eat fondant, but other people do.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
No, I've seen that because
those are the same people who ate paste as children.
Probably.
Oh God. Remember the camp I was telling you about last night? The weird place in the middle of nowhere on the top of the mountain? Some of the older kids decided we should all gather together and they should give us cigarettes and alcohol to try. And I took one puff and found it horrible and never wanted to do it again. And the alcohol tasted like crap because it was like strong. But the problem was, okay, we tried it, we didn't like it. Now what? Because we were in the same room as our physics teacher. And we were terrified that she was going to smell the cigarettes on us. So we took some toothpaste and spread it on some bread and then took a few bites out of that.
Oh my God.
Oh, that sounds so gross.
Oh.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you just eat the toothpaste?
Because we thought if it was with bread, it would be more bearable. It wasn't.
Yeah, I bet not.
No.
Go get our brushes and brush our teeth because the teacher was in the room.
That would look suspicious.
No, but the teacher was in the room, so
yeah.
Like smush it around on your finger a little bit.
we did that. I mean,
when I was in Girl Scouts, we were sneaking off smoking cigarettes after everybody went to bed. And I have since found out in my adult life from my mother that the reason we got away with that so frequently was because my mom and the other counselors were actually off the other direction smoking pot.
That does not surprise me.
No, it doesn't surprise me either.
Oh my God.
But I didn't realize it at the time.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying right now, if y'all ever get a chance to meet Sarah's mom, if you ever get a chance to meet Sarah's mom, you are in for a treat.
I'll try to make her be on a video.
Most ridiculously awesome people I've ever met in my life.
She's a weirdo.
She is. She's just delightful in every way.
Yeah, I couldn't believe when she told me that, though. I'm like, so you guys were supposed to be in charge of Girl Scout camp and you were smoking weed? And she's like, you just told me you were smoking cigarettes. And I'm like, but I was a kid.
And I wasn't supposed to be responsible.
Right.
Oh my God. That's like, at the end of that camp, somehow, someone blabbed to their parents, and because this city is actually a pretty small town, somehow the word got to my father, his wife, and his wife went insane that I was smoking at 13. And I went to visit them, and she was beside herself. And I was like, how the hell do you know I tried a puff? How did you find this out? Like, yeah, we all tried. I didn't like it. I'm not smoking now. And she was more pissed at my father because his reaction was, well, how old is she now? 13. Well, I started when I was 9, so it's okay. And actually, the way he started smoking was he would wake up in the morning and he was supposed to take the cow on the field for it to eat. And before they took the cow out and all the way to the field, they would sneak into the hen's cottage, whatever, and steal an egg. And they'd go with that egg to the grocery shop or whatever it was, and they would just measure the egg, and depending on how large the egg was, they got fewer or more cigarettes, which they take with them on the field and smoke.
Yeah. Yeah, see, like, you have to have a scheme down when you're a kid and you want to try to do things that you're not supposed to. Like, my older brother and I both started smoking at, like, 11. But my older brother's 3 years older than me. So what I would do is I would tell my parents, oh, Matt's over in Grant's garage smoking. You should go over and check on him. And then I'd go the other way down the street and go smoke. And why would they think I was smoking? I just turned someone else in for it.
So you've always been a horrible person. It's not a new development.
Yeah. He's 40 years old and he still is not impressed with that. He still hates me for it.
I'm guessing you never got those mugs that say world's best sister.
Yeah, no, I'm not that thing. I was good at some things. That was not one of them.
Being a sister.
Yeah,
it's
no,
okay. I never got them either. I don't have brothers or sisters, but I never got them either. This is the best dream ever.
Right?
Okay, so an hour and a half into this, let's try to pretend we're doing a writing chat and let's just go around and try to figure out what was the biggest lesson you've learned this year.
Where are we starting?
However you want. Just make sure everyone gets a turn. I'm not letting anyone off the hook on this one, because I will. I'll be damned. Okay, I'll go first. But let me finish this. I'll be damned if I don't get one topic related to the original topic that everybody pitches in for. So I think for me, the biggest writing lesson was that you can't do the same amount of writing regardless of everything else that's going on in your life. So if you're just focusing on drafting, it won't go the same way as it goes when you have drafting and editing a different draft and launching a different book. Because I've been trying to do that all year and I failed miserably because apparently there's a limited number of hours in the day. And apparently I do need sleep. Also, I'm super lazy and I get distracted easily, so that doesn't help either. And the other super important lesson that I learned is that whenever you're exposed to new theories or craft debates and tips on how to improve your writing, maybe don't take it all too hard. Because in my recent manuscript, my editor kind of went blank a few times, going like, why is all this needed here? Because you don't usually go into this detail about how the houses are connected or exactly how many steps you have to take to get from the living room to the bathroom. Nobody cares. And I was like, yeah, but I watched all these videos on how you shouldn't have a white room type of thing in your writing, and people should get the feel of the place. And she was like, yeah, feel of the place, not a detailed description of every inch in the house.
That is fair. That's valid advice.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, I was so obsessed about improving my craft that I went a bit overboard and not in the right places. So yeah, that was an important lesson for me to learn, that maybe my initial style is not that bad that I need to improve everything about it. I should just pick and choose what helps. And yeah, those are my two important lessons. Who's up next?
Don't everyone try to talk at the same time.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna go. Okay.
Oh, go, Trynda.
Okay, I'm going. So I think the biggest thing that I learned this year was that I do have limits, and that I gotta remember that as I make a list of all the shit I want to get done in a year.
Yeah.
And that knowing your limits is half the battle of not being overwhelmed with how much is on your plate.
That's a great lesson. I gave up on it years ago because I never managed to learn that one. But
I mean, I'm still learning that one.
I'm still trying. But yeah,
like that's one that you just kind of perfect, opposed to just learning and moving on with your life. So a lesson you're constantly learning.
Oh, Sky says that the person who's currently speaking should tag in the next person they want to answer. So I think we'll do that.
That's a good idea.
I don't feel, because otherwise I'll have to do it and I'll be the bad guy and I don't want to.
Okay, I'm taking Sarah then.
Okay.
Because I cut her off.
The biggest thing I learned this year is that I'm not quite as solitary as I feel like I am. I just don't like people who don't have any idea what the hell I'm talking about. So like, I can't talk to a non-writer about writing and have them really understand me. At least I'm not a non-creative person. Like my upstairs neighbor does art, and like last night she was over and I was talking about writing, and she gets it because she does drawing. So like, I feel like I don't like anyone. And then I remember like, no, I do. I like people who get what I'm going through, but a lot of people don't get it. So I think that whole like, oh, I'm just a really solitary person might not be as true as I thought it was. But then I also learned that having those people around does help me to not feel as bad when I fail, but also to celebrate successes, which I think I forget to do. And feeling like someone else is proud does help make me feel like I did something.
Yeah, I think that's one that's also been kind of in the back of my mind this last year too, is just learning that it's easier to connect with creative people opposed to people who sit at home and watch TV all night, not to paint a blanket picture.
Right. Those people might be very supportive, but they don't have the same angle on it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Like, and that's the thing. Like, I have plenty of supportive people who are not creative people, and they're very supportive or whatever. But that doesn't mean that they get it. Aries is about to like remove something off of your dresser, I think.
No, there's nothing. I mean, wait. I might be able to reach something. Wait, one second.
Is either Misha or CJ ready? I don't want to tag somebody and have you stab me or something. Although Misha, it'd be a lot harder for you to get over here and stab me than CJ.
Yes. I think for me, it was mostly about learning to get into a routine. Because last year, towards the end of the year, I started doing freelancing. So I just basically ended up focusing so much time on the freelancing that I actually didn't write as much as I wanted to do. And then I realized, but actually I have to say, okay, well, I want to be a full-time writer, so I actually have to write some time in a day, otherwise I'm just going to get anything done. And so that's basically what I learned, was to at least try and give myself an hour every morning to get something written or to edit something, and then do freelance stuff and whatever, social networking in the afternoon. But that's basically it.
Yeah, no, I had a problem with that when I switched to full-time writer, because there's a lot to do. I was thinking like the moment I switch to that, I'll just have writing, but no, actually, I still have to do all the marketing and all the platform building, and I still have to worry about edits and coordinating with my editor and my cover designer and chatting with other authors, and that's still part of my day. And yeah, I agree with you. It's hard to just make the time in the day to dedicate it just to writing.
Yeah.
That's a very good point, Misha.
Mm. Okay, so then I guess that leaves CJ.
That's me. All right.
If you were
thinking about this as you guys talk.
If you're hoping we forgot about you, we didn't.
No, I've been thinking about, like, as I'm listening to you guys talk about the things you learned, I've been thinking, like, so my year was cut into two sections. The first half of my year was learning how to be patient. Things that I decided, like, a year and a half ago that I was going to quit my job and something. I wasn't very clear on it a year and a half ago, but I was going to do this. And so the beginning of the year, and things were starting to move in that direction. It took a lot of patience to get through the last 6 months of my job, because I was so ready to, like, I'm done with the stress, I'm done with this work. Into something I'm truly passionate about, and it wasn't that I didn't like my job. I was ready to move on, and so patient person by nature, and so learning patience to get to the place where you want to be was sometimes I forget that lesson a lot. And then the second thing I learned this year, is I actually need to do more planning than I think I need to do. I have a tendency to fly by the seat of my pants all the time. And it's not that I don't do some planning, it's just that I do like 10 minutes of planning when I should actually probably do more like 45. And so one of the things that these particular interactions through November have been so helpful in learning that I can be a planner and still be spontaneous. I don't know if that made sense.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think so.
And the part about the patience lesson, it makes sense to me, because I remember on my last corporate job, at the time I was the PR manager for my company, and it was a tech company. And I knew I wanted to leave, and I was going to start my own company. And I started a countdown timer that started a year and a half before I actually left. So every day I would just bring it one number lower. And yeah, I started at about 478 days, something like that. And then just kept going down until I finally went to my CEO and said, I'm quitting because I want to start my own company. And that took a lot of patience to wait until that point when I knew I was finally ready to do it. And I had everything planned out. I had the company created, which was actually a birthday present to myself, 6 months before quitting. Because those things take time. So I totally get that. Especially if you're not patient by nature, I think it's a very hard lesson to deal with. Because if you're like super impatient and want everything now, it's going to be.
And I do. I want everything right now. And I'd really prefer not to have to work for it. I mean, if we're going to be really honest here, I'd prefer to just, can I just have it like here, somebody give it to me and now it's mine.
Yeah, where's my silver plate?
Right. And on the other hand, I've also, as part of that, I've learned that having that patience pays off in the long run. I wouldn't have been able to do some of the things that I've been able to do if I hadn't taken that year and a half to save money and to, talk to the ways that I'm supporting myself now as I teach piano, and building up that student base and talking to people about, hey, your kids want to have piano lessons? I will come to your house and teach your kids how to, not make the piano sound absolutely awful. I'm not guaranteeing they'll be, prodigies or anything. I just, they'll be able to play Ode to Joy, and, everybody will be happy with that until you've heard it 7,000 times in a month. But the satisfaction of having finished what I was doing at my old job and being able to walk away from that knowing that I did everything right. I didn't just, I turned in my resignation in like April and I left in July. And those were the longest 3 months of my life, because once I turned in my resignation, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm ready to move on. And but getting through those 3 months helped me. There were things I learned in those 3 months about planning that I wish I'd taken to heart. But I know them and I can use them now. And I think that planning thing really is I struggle to plan because I like to think of myself as a free spirit, and I'm just going to go along my merry way and things will happen. And because I like to think of myself that way, planning can be depressing at times. I don't want to be a planner. That's not something I desire to be. I have Sarah for that. Sarah's the type A person.
Mm-hmm.
But I have
the conclusion is we all need the Sarah in our lives.
I am so type A.
Everybody needs Sarah. You're so what?
Oh, I said I'm so type A. Like that.
Yes.
That scheduling crap really just like gets me. I love it.
The thing is, like, I think I like to think of myself as an artist and kind of go with the flow. And I keep kidding myself that now that I'm a freelancer, I can take a 3-hour lunch break and just go and enjoy an afternoon walk, forgetting that for that I will have to work until like midnight. And the way I dealt with that, I'm not sure if it will help you, but the way I dealt with that was to remind myself that, oh, I'm freaking scatterbrained, and not planning will get me into trouble, because I will start dropping balls left and right if I don't have a clear schedule, because I'm just, easily distracted by shiny things. Reminding myself how much of an airhead I am usually makes me more into planning. Like, it's like, okay, this works. If I plan a little, I won't feel like crap for forgetting something important. I still forget important stuff now and then, but a lot less. So that helped me.
I'm kind of the same way, except I got like a weird medium going on where I'm sort of planned, but then I kind of just go with the flow at the same time. And I didn't plan, and then I started misplacing things and losing things, like writing and like stuff from like my World Bible, and like just missing details. And then I'm like, all right, this is not working for my type of personality, because I just lose shit. And then it took me, I set aside time to like flush everything out and actually get organized. And that was enough to be like, I never want to have to do this again. So I'm just going to be sort of organized going forward, even if it's not super planner, like to the max. It's just a loose structure. And that's enough to get me through life without feeling like I've got the entire world on my shoulders. Trello was a huge help for that. Yes. Like just having a visual representation of everything that's kind of going on is a lifesaver as far as I'm concerned for me.
Yeah, no, I've used Trello before just to keep track of post ideas and video ideas and character names, because I tend to forget the names of secondary characters a lot. Especially if there are a lot of them. And it helps me to have them there. And then I sometimes use Trello for character sheets and maybe even a more detailed outline. It depends. Not very often. I still do it by hand for that. I like to just outline the chapters by hand in a notebook with just a few ideas, because if I plan too much, I feel like I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to write that. I'm going to go off script. But if I have just a few points that I need to touch in every chapter, then we're fine. So yeah, Trello can be really helpful just to keep track of everything and have, as you said, see it all together, which helps it make sense.
Mm-hmm. We use Trello a lot at my work for like project management stuff. Mm-hmm, so I'm familiar with it through the actual like corporate Scrum aspect of it. So I do a lot of like just seeing how, because I work in one big world and it can get stringy, I guess would be the best way to describe it. So like being able to link stuff within Trello to different boards, and it's like, oh, in this YouTube video, I'm going to talk about that. Or like if I'm on the bus, then I could just drop a comment in and not worry about having to remember it 3 hours later. That's the kind of stuff that I find really helpful about it, where it's just minor things that I just don't want to forget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm not going to be bothered to carry a notebook with me. I mean, when I'm at home and the notebook is right there, that's fine. And I'd still go to my Post-its just because they're closer and I'm lazy. And then I lose the Post-its, obviously.
Yes.
But yeah, if I'm out and about, I'm not going to carry that much with me, because no. And I never seem to like to type on my phone, because that takes forever and I misspell everything. So yeah, Trello has been really cool. I'm not sure if they have a phone app. Maybe I could be enticed to use that.
They do. I actually downloaded it.
For sure.
Yeah, I downloaded my Trello app. They do.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I should do that, but I think I'll wait until I switch my phone because I'm supposed to get a newer one in February. And I'm not going to install more things that I have to transfer because, as we've previously established, I'm freaking lazy. Besides, to be honest, I'm at home most of the times, other than some outings with the dog and some walks and going over to my boyfriend's. I work from home, so I have all my work stuff here. But yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense that you wouldn't necessarily need it on your phone. I usually do most of my stuff on the computer, but I don't know. When you're on the bus, it's just handy to just toss it or like walking around. I guess like you can do that with like a notepad or something too. Like it's the same thing, like in your phone.
I don't know how you can do that. I really don't know how, but I never can find my notes app on my phone. Never. I go through it frantically and I never find the notes. And then later when I don't need it, it's like, oh, it was right there. It's the folder that's supposed to be to make it easier to find, and I always somehow overlook.
I do that. I do that so much where it's like I'm looking for one app and I'm like, I cannot find this app, and then it's like it's been in my face the whole time.
Yeah. We're writers, aren't we? We're supposed to pay attention to all the minuscule details of our lives and notice things.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I forgot because the thing Ares wanted is this. Because of the sound.
It's on the table.
Because of the sound, and I have never tortured my pet before with costumes, but this year I am. This year I'm going all out. See how fast he's coming? I don't know why he likes that so much. I think it's because of the little bells.
It's gotta be.
Because he's a cat. Yeah.
Mr. Crowley, the way he behaves when I put his harness on him indicates to me that costumes are not in his future. So, as much as I'd like to.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm not sure how he'll react, but I'm going to try anyway. If he's unlucky enough that I manage to put them on, God knows when I'll remove them.
He'll wear it and he'll like it.
Probably. Or he'll eat it. And then I'll go insane wondering how sick he's going to be. So I do these things to myself. Like, I'm the only one who needs to blame, who needs to take the blame. I can't do words anymore, apparently, again.
I thought we were under the impression we couldn't do words. Like that was just a thing we weren't able to do.
Yeah, but sometimes you get like a boost of energy, like a second wind, and words are easier. And then when they stop being easier, you kind of feel the loss, if that makes sense. And you realize just how bad you are at words. So because we've been talking about all of this, and there's a conversation on goals in the chat now, I wanted to ask, also I'm blurry out of the sudden?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. It's good now. How do you guys set goals? Do you set like yearly or monthly or quarterly goals? How do you do that?
You're starting.
Don't you all rush in to answer the question?
So as I mentioned before, I'll go. As I mentioned before, a lot of goal planning. Our discussion last night, and inspired by Sarah's obsessive creating of planner stuff. Don't lie. You have pants aflame.
We've got video footage, Sarah. It's kind of hard to
Yes,
describe.
there's evidence.
There's video evidence. You cannot go back on what you've said.
Right?
I actually sat down and I created a planner and a goal sheet. So to use those. I haven't printed them off yet. I've always resisted using paper because I feel like this is the 21st century. I should be using technology, phone, and my computer. And I think Alina said this last night. The problem with using an app on your phone or whatever is it's very, very easy to just ignore it or like just ignore the notification, just be like whatever. Whereas paper is there, it's physical, and it has a certain pull to it.
Yeah.
By doing that, I don't know if I'm going to hang them up next to my desk, or I have a whiteboard that's magnetic that I haven't actually put up yet.
Yeah, I have that too,
because
but
it's really heavy, so it requires.
I was thinking of using that.
Yeah, and because they're so heavy, I have to figure out a way to hang it on the wall without like creating huge holes or ripping out the plaster or whatever.
You get that Velcro tape stuff.
I've tried that, but the thing is so heavy, I would have to use an entire case of the Velcro thingies. Tried hanging it up with several 3M hooks, but even using like 6 of them, it still fell down.
Really?
It's so heavy. It's so heavy. So I don't know. It may just end up propped on the side of my desk, but using that and having that right there in front of me all day, every day, I think is probably going to be my first step in goal planning.
You know what did help me with my cork board that's kind of heavy is that I put one of those like a painting wire on it, and that did help it hang easier as far as like not coming off the wall.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll try that.
So that's worth a shot.
Yeah.
What was the question? I could go next, but I forgot the question.
I was asking how you handle goals. Do you set them weekly or monthly or quarterly, or do you have big yearly goals?
Yeah, I kind of vary. I keep my daily schedule or whatever, and I try to set goals based on that. But I also don't freak out too much if I get behind. So I also try not to set too lofty of goals for the far future. But I also really enjoy reassessing whether or not what I'm doing is working. So it kind of varies based on how well it's working.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I don't know who wants to go next. Oh, there you go.
I have no choice in this matter.
You've been super quiet tonight, so you knew this was going to come. Like
I knew it. I saw it coming. No, so basically, I have this huge, big goal that I've set for 5 years from the beginning. It's say September last year. So that I'm working towards, and that would be to make a living as a writer and then knowledge as a writer. And so basically from that, I basically step back towards, okay, so esoteric little dream thing that I'm aiming towards, how am I going to do that? And then I work back to say, okay, I want to publish these books. And then to do that, I need to say, okay, well, in the next month or so, I need to write so many words towards at least one of them. And then I go, okay, so this week I need to do this, this, and this. And then, so I basically...
So you kind of start with the macro goals and then...
Yeah, and then work down to small ones. And then I'm actually using Trello. I have one that's like a, what do you call them again? Go look.
Boards.
The board?
Yeah, that one board that's specifically for my big goals, and then I have monthly goals, and then my to-do list, that's my daily little thing that I have to do. And then I'm just checking them out. And then I have a board as well that's for the ones that I managed to keep track. If I get towards the end of the week and I see I only did like 3 things, and I know I've got a problem. But so basically, it's just, I just feel that before I started doing that, I always had this feeling of, it's nice to have these big things about, I want to be a writer, but if you don't really think about how you're going to get to that goal, it's not really going to, you're not moving with intention. So without moving with that kind of intention, it's difficult to actually direct your energy towards achieving what you're trying to do. So that's basically what I do, is set little goals that are all aimed at achieving that big 5-year goal, and then keeping myself accountable to making sure that I actually do those things.
Yeah, I think that's a good strategy, actually. Trynda?
So I kind of do something similar, where I set projects more so, and then based off the projects and when I think would be a good kind of deadline to have them done by. Like, I guess to use an example, my post-apocalyptic short stories, I've picked out release dates for them that are in line with nuclear weapons testing. Mm-hmm. So I have until those deadlines to get those stories done, and that's how I work back from that. Knowing when my deadline is, I can kind of set out how much I need to get done. And then as stuff pops up that has more critical deadlines, then I can kind of shift my focus to those, and then back and forth depending on what needs to take priority.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? That's generally how I kind of work, is just based around my deadlines and stuff and priorities.
Yeah, I think I mean, I planned more after the year started than before, because before my only goal was to just go back to writing and stop being in a huge slump. And then the more I got into the year, the more my goals became clearer. So I started with, I want to get back to writing. And then I was, well, I'm all on my own now, and I have to make this work somehow, because I want at some point to become a full-time author. And then I started to devise smaller goals, like I need to write more, I need to publish more, I need to grow my platform. Because at the beginning of this year, I had 150 newsletter subscribers, which I'd amassed over like 3 years. So that was pitiful. 3 years of having a newsletter, and what do you have to show for it? 150 subscribers. Okay, clearly you have a background in marketing and PR. Clearly you're super good at it. And so then I started focusing on it, and right now I have about 2,000 without really focusing on it constantly. And then I started doing YouTube because I thought it would be a nice addition to everything I was doing marketing-wise, and it would have been the best way I could think of back then to just let my personality shine. Because people don't really get to know you from a few posts on Facebook, but if they see you constantly on video being your crazy-ass self, they will figure out you're insane fast. And maybe they like that, and then it helps. Plus, it's fun. So then, as the second half of the year came upon us, I realized what worked, what didn't, and where I had to push more. Like, I noticed if I have more constant releases, my income increases. And at some point, I will probably be able to slow down on how much I publish and better invest my money in marketing. But for now, it works. And I kind of reassessed my goals every quarter and then at the mid-year mark. And I think going forward into 2018, I'm going to start the same way. Have some big goals and then divide them by quarterly goals and make sure I stop and, like Sarah said, reassess stuff and then adapt my schedule to it. Because I realized if I'm super strict, it might not work. For example, I didn't want to write Lead to Follow first. I wanted to write the Angel's Feather sequel, but it just didn't work. So I just switched them and wrote the werewolf book first. And that led to me actually having a release a month in the fourth quarter. Otherwise, if I would have just stuck to the initial plan, I would have probably missed a couple of months of publishing because I just couldn't get into that story right away. So I think there needs to be some room for flexibility, but it's a very fine line for me because I'm the kind of person that bounce back and forth between project as a way of procrastinating, and I have to somehow be mindful of that and then not be too rigid, and it gets to be a hot mess from a point on, because that's just how my life goes, I guess.
I guess that's what happens when you get enough sleep. Your life just turns into a hot mess. That was so hard.
Why are you all making fun of me and how little I sleep? You know, it hurts me, it pains me. Not that you're making fun of me, but that I don't sleep.
I don't know about you, but I don't know if I've gotten any sleep either.
Exactly. Plus, it's like, look who's talking, right? All of you get so little sleep, and then you pick on me. And that's just because everybody knows I wake up at 2:30 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, just to be on Sarah's stream. Because if I didn't do that, nobody would know how little I sleep or how insane my hours are. So one of these days I will have my revenge and expose you to the world for the poor sleepers that you are.
I don't know if the world hasn't already figured it out at this point. We're a little loopy to not be getting a proper amount of sleep. Cat might be out of the bag in that case.
Right?
Yeah. I think that ship has sailed.
Guys, I'm so sorry I have to be rude, but I have to get going. So I have,
Not a problem.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
was a lot of
20
fun.
minutes and before I go. So,
we'll see you next week.
Not pajama clothes.
Yeah. I should be again next week, so I'll see you guys then.
Sure. We'll have you here next week. Bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so 1 down, 4 to go.
Well, I have to leave too. I have practice.
I was just going to say we've just hit the 2-hour mark, and we should wrap it up for today because I love chatting with you guys, but at some point I'm going to fall asleep right here.
Right?
Yeah, you need to go to bed.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, I'm just going to
cyborg batteries.
I'm just going to relax for the evening and make sure I feed my dog because that's all I can handle. I hope everyone watching and hanging out with us enjoyed this totally writing related chat.
Right?
It was entirely about writing. We did not speak, at least we didn't mention grizzly bears and vipers.
That's true.
No, that's true. So, we went to glitter poop instead.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my god.
Just gonna take this all the way down to the basement.
Right.
It's all good.
We don't want people to have too high of expectations here.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta set the bar adequately.
Mm-hmm.
I think actually, as low as it is, we kind of set an impossible bar for ourselves. I mean, what can we come up with to top glitter poop?
I promise I'll try to come up with something.
We'll find out next week, I'm sure.
We will find out next week at the same time. So hope you enjoy your weekend and have a great week. And if you're watching this in the future, we'd like to hear everything about your goals and writing in the comments. We promise we'll reply to all of them, most of them. all of them. Let's be fair. We'll reply to all of them because we get so few.
Right.
We love every comment we get.
Yep.
All
Yes,
of them
we
are
do.
cherished.
Yep. And I actually showed that by pressing the love button. Whatever. You have thumbs
I don't know
up,
what that
thumbs
thing's
down.
called, but I
That's
know what
what,
you're talking about.
but I know you get an email that tells you, Alina loved your comment. So that's great.
Right.
We love all of your comments.
Faux show.
So yeah, thanks for being here. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Probably.
Bye.
We don't die. Bye.
Bye.